At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
This episode is brought to you by Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels and music are made for each other. They share a rhythm in the craft of making something timeless, while being a part of legendary nights. From backyard jams to sold-out arenas, there's a song in every toast. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion with me, your host, Stephen Wallis. In today's very special episode, I'll be speaking with Kobus Olivier, a South African cricket coach who for the past 6 years has been bringing the game of cricket to children in Ukraine. On the 25th of September, I caught up with Kobus in a coffee shop in central Kyiv via Zoom to hear about the incredible work he is doing in a country torn apart by war. It's a truly compelling story of passion, resilience, and the power of sport to help children. You'll hear how Kobus has used cricket to support children living through the trauma of conflict, and how he is now preparing for a momentous cricket tour to England at the end of October. So sit back and enjoy this hour-long conversation about cricket, courage, and hope in the most challenging of circumstances. Hello, Kobus. Thank you for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion. We've waited a long time for this.
Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, I've been waiting. I've been preparing for this podcast. I've been looking forward to it. It's been quite, as you can imagine, it's been quite a tough few months here in Kyiv. And I always, when it gets really bad here, I think, well, at least I've got something to look forward to. I've got my podcast with Michael coming up.
Well, you've obviously been looking forward to this podcast so much, Kobus, that you've been calling me Michael instead of Stephen, because you're thinking about this tour you've got with Michael Powell in October.
Yeah, we've just been discussing it. Sorry, we were talking about it, and it was Michael this, and we were seeing which team Michael played for Warwickshire. So I still had Michael, and I apologize about that. It's a great start to the podcast, though, but I hope you forgive me for that. Yes,
yeah, we'll come on to that, the tour. But you've mentioned that you're in Kyiv, and we're recording here at the end of September. How are you in Kyiv? And that's easy thing to say when we're in the UK, but how are you doing yourself in Kyiv?
Stephen, I must say, under the circumstances, I think I'm hanging in, but I must be honest, the reality in Kyiv and like all over Ukraine at the moment, it's been incredibly hard. It's like a slow poison. It's every day, every night. There's hardly any breaks in between now. All day, I'm on all the Ukrainian people, everyone in Ukraine, we have these Telegram groups that warn us when the drones or the missiles cross the border from Russia into Ukrainian airspace, and then you can follow it on Telegram. So you can see there's drones coming, and because Kyiv is quite far from the border, you can see, first it will be 10 drones on its way, going through Sumy, going on its way to Kyiv, and then most nights now, they started off in the beginning about 2 months ago. It used to be 20, 40 drones a night. We now get up to 100, 180, 200. The other night we had 400, which I think was a record, drones coming into Kyiv. And I mean, the damage these drones cause, if you must have seen on television, I mean, they take out whole floors of buildings. They blow up factories. So, and it is scary. I've had most nights now, I'm I can't remember the last time I actually slept in my bed, because my bed is next to a window. So if there's explosions nearby, it can blow the window out and the glass. So I sleep with my 4 dogs. I've got a mattress in my corridor. They've got a 2-wall rule here. They say that, you know, if a drone hits your apartment directly, or a missile, your building, you're gone. But if it's not a direct hit, and it's maybe outside somewhere in a car park, or anywhere near your building, it will blow the glass out. And then if there's 2 walls in between you and your window, it can protect you. So most people here, they either have mattresses in the bathrooms, or they have a mattress in the corridor. So I have a mattress in the corridor where I sleep with my 4 dogs. I start my evenings there. And then if the drone attacks, if I see there's missiles coming, or anything over 40, 50, 200 drones coming into Kyiv, I quickly take my dogs down to the bomb shelter, which our complex, it's a huge complex. It's about 12 buildings in our complex. I then take my dogs down to, it's a parking area.
How many people are down there?
I think when there's a full-on attack, everybody goes down there. There must be over 1,000 people down there, because it's a huge complex. So, and you've got dogs down there, children, families, everybody goes down there. And people actually, because we're in the shelter so often, in this car park where the cars are parked, but it's quite deep underground. It goes up to 2 levels underground. So I always go on the lowest level. So you're on the deepest level. So there's more protection if something hits it. People there's camping beds. They've put mattresses out there. I've got a little lilo, you know, the blow up mattress that you go in the sea with. I've got one of those, and a blanket down there. So, and a yoga mat. So you leave it there, because if you go down, you can't carry all this. So people have really, they've got bottles of water there, and they all got their little spots. So it almost looks like a camping site down there. And then when there's a big attack, people all go down. If it looks like what we call not a heavy attack, which is because you can't go down all the time. You'll basically be living down in the bomb shelter. So people monitor it on the Telegram groups, and then if it's not big attacks, like say 15 drones. Last night we had about 22 drones over Kyiv. Then we just go to the corridor. It becomes a way of life, and also at the school. If you're not in the school, I can still choose. It's my choice if I go to a bomb shelter or not, if there's air raid sirens, which go off throughout the day. But in the schools, it's a law. All the kids and the teachers, if there's air raid sirens, schools and universities, everybody has to go.
And how long are you down there for?
Stephen, it depends. I mean, at nights when there's a serious attack, I've had, the last big one we had was about a week ago. And I spent, the alarms went off at about 7 o'clock that evening. I saw that it's a huge attack. There's missiles coming, there's drones coming. And I went down there at 7 o'clock in the evening with my dogs. It stopped the next morning at 9 o'clock. So I had my whole night. I think it's 14 hours that I was down there with the dogs. So I take water down there as well for the dogs, and some snacks for me. So you can spend easy up to a whole night down in the shelter.
And do you get much notice when you know how many are coming? But how much notice do you get before you go down there?
Even with the drones, you have time, but the missiles, because those ballistic missiles, the Iskander missiles, and that, I mean, those things, you literally, if you're lucky, you have 8 minutes, 10 minutes. But also now with the drones, the Russians, with the ongoing war, that all the time they find new ways to get around anti-air defense systems. So the last drone attack we had, the drones were very low, which they haven't done before. They were literally just above the buildings, just above the buildings, because usually they come very high and they pick them up on the radar. But they couldn't. They were so low that they couldn't pick them up. So there was no warning. I was sitting in my kitchen with the dogs, and I just heard 2 huge explosions. And it was a drone that got hit. It went down into the car park of the complex next to me, and it destroyed about 10 cars were destroyed. But that was a huge explosion. And then the other one hit just sort of, I'm very close to one of the airports here, Ljubljana Airport, and that's one of the big targets. At that airport, there's a lot of they keep some ammunition there, and I don't know, but it's one of the big targets. So almost every time when there's attacks, they target that airport, and that's 5 minutes from my apartment. So I hear these explosions when there's especially when it's missile attacks. It's huge. I mean, the windows are shaking. When I'm down in the shelter, the car alarms go off. So it's really scary, especially, as I say, those missiles. And you've got very little time to get to some kind of safety when the missiles are coming.
Well, my thoughts are with you. We've just got no idea here what that must be like and how you live with that every day. And it almost seems to now start talking about cricket when what you're going through, but hopefully it'll give you a bit of relief to talk about the wonderful game of cricket on this podcast. But bearing in mind when we talk about your coaching, we can discuss again the challenges you must have in Ukraine. But to start with, on the podcast issue, I just wanted to highlight to other listeners that you should be perfect on this podcast because I've heard you on several. You were on the Stumped one with Jim Maxwell and Alison Mitchell a long time ago, and you've also done your own with Daryl Cullinan talking about the England-India series this summer.
Yes, I've done quite a few of these podcasts since the war started, really. I also did with Jared Kimber, which I really enjoyed. It was a really nice podcast with him. I've been with Richard Heffer on the Chadwick calendar. So I've done a few of these podcasts now, and I really enjoy it because, as you say, it takes my mind off the war. Yeah, when I do the podcast, I love cricket. It's my passion. It's what I do. So when I do these podcasts, I'm getting so into the cricket that actually it's for I sort of forget a little bit about the war. And then when I finish a podcast, it's back to reality. You start listening for sirens going off, and but the podcasts really help a lot to get me back into the cricket sort of world.
Well, hopefully this sort of 45 minutes, hour, we're going to do that for you. And I wanted to begin by finding out about your own cricket background. I know you're South African. Where did you grow up and how did sort of sport begin for you? Because South Africans love sport, don't they?
Yeah. Stephen, yes, I grew up in Pretoria. My father was a university professor there. My mom was a school teacher. I'm my only child. And like any young South African kid, from when I can remember, I was probably 5, 6 years old. In winter, my dad would go in the back garden, we'll throw a rugby ball around, and in summer it was cricket. And then at school, when I started going to school at 6, winters we played rugby. I played under 7, under 8, all the age groups rugby up to under 15 in winter, and in summer, as I say, it was cricket. And then I sort of begin to understand that when I got to about 15, I understood I've actually got quite a talent for cricket. I'm definitely better at cricket than at rugby. And I must say, it might be interesting for you. The person that had the biggest influence at that stage on me choosing cricket above rugby was actually Bob Woolmer, the ex-England and Kent player. Bob came out, he was only 22, and he came out for his first season. After that, he came many times. He ended up settling down in Cape Town, but he came out as a young Kent professional, and he was playing Kent's second 11 at the time. And he came out for his first season down in Pretoria, Joburg, and he was allocated. I don't know how it worked. It was something that the Transvaal Cricket board at that stage used to put the pros out in different at schools and clubs where they would play and coach. And he ended up at Afrikaans. I was in Afrikaans school, Auckland Park Laerskool, Auckland Park Primary School, and Bob came there as an English pro, and most of our kids couldn't speak proper English. So we had this real English pro with a Kent accent, and I'll never forget that. And the first time Bob walked in there, I mean, our kit, I was 10 years old then. It was a sort, it looked like all sorts licorice. I had a Grey Nichols bat and a St. Peter's pads, and it was a whole mixed county gloves. And Bob walked in there with his Grey Nichols. He was sponsored, and he had the whole kit from was matching Grey Nichols. And he had the Kent sweater with a horse, and then the second 11 had the two, it looked like 11 under the horse. And it made such an impression on me. And at that time, he had one of those cricket coffins on wheels. And I've never seen that before. We were putting our little kit bags with our kit in over the shoulder, and Bob arrived there pulling his cricket coffin on wheels with tent on it, and it made a huge, and he came in his whites to coach. And Bob, as I said, I was 10 years old, and it made a huge impression on me. And Bob really was the main reason that I decided. I played far off in rugby, and I thought, now I'm going to stop rugby. I just want to be a cricket professional. I want to one day have a Kent sweater and play professional cricket. So it all started with Bob when I was 10 years old. And then
what year was that then, when Bob was?
Bob, that must have been, I matriculated. Sure, I'll have to work it out. It was somewhere in the early 70s. When I was 10 years old, yeah. So
because Bob played his first test for England in 1975. So yeah.
It could even have been in the late 60s. I'm not very good with dates, but I remember I was 10, and funnily enough, 20 years later, when I was 22, Bob must have then been 42, if I've got my maths right. Yeah. Bob played his last club match in Cape Town for Avondale Cricket Club. And I opened the batting with Bob. And I had such respect for Bob that we were batting together in a club match, and I would call for a run, and I would say, yes, sir, no, sir. And Bob came over to me in the middle a few times and said, please don't call me sir, call me Bob. I just couldn't get my head around it. I had such respect for Bob Wilmer, and we became very close friends. I used to go to his house often, and I think I was one of the first ones. His wife actually phoned me when Bob passed away. In the West Indies when he was with Pakistan, and it was such a shock to me that what happened there. But Bob, as I say, and then after, so to carry on with my cricket story, after that, I went through the different age groups at school, and then I went to Stellenbosch University. I was again very fortunate. In my first year there, I was coached by Eddie Barlow, who's the Springbok all-rounder, legendary. Eddie Barlow, or Bunter, we called him. So Eddie,
what was he like? What was Eddie Barlow like? He was a great competitor on the field. Well, I can vaguely remember because he played for Derbyshire over here for a year.
That's correct. He played for Derbyshire, and a lot of his youngsters at that time that came through. It was sort of the players he mentored at that time. At Stellenbosch, we had Kepler Wessels was there at the same time. Peter Kirsten was there. Garth Leroux. So these guys all came, they were young players, 18, 19 at university, and Bob and Eddie Bunter molded them really very much into the cricket as they became later. He was very different from Bob, his coaching style. Bob was incredibly technical. Sometimes I think at test level coaching top professionals, Bob's way of coaching was fantastic. I mean, he would work on little things, working on your sweep shot. Eddie Barlow was very much a see it, hit it kind of coach. He wasn't very too bothered about your technique. He would say, if it's there, hit the ball. He kept it very simple. Bob could make cricket a fantastic coach, but I think for club cricketers sometimes a bit too technical, and sometimes when we couldn't quite understand what Bob was trying to coach us. Whereas Eddie was very much, as you go out there, you see the ball, you think it doesn't matter. First ball, I was the opening batsman, and Eddie, I sort of had to think I had to stay in for a bit, have a look at the pitch. Eddie said, Kobus, nonsense. If the first ball is a half volley, you hit it for 4. If it's short, you smash it for 6. And he had the famous uppercut over the slips. That became Eddie Barlow's trademark shot, and he was the opening batsman. And he said, if it's short, you just have a full go to cut it wide outside off, even if it's the first ball of the innings. And he said, if you middle it, it's going to go for 4. If you get an edge, because you hit it so hard, it's going to go for 6 over the slips. So Eddie was this unbelievable. And also I bowled a bit then, and he worked. I saw him work with Garth Leroux. and before he went to Pekka. And it is also here that he had the absolute belief that every ball that he bowled, he's going to take a wicket. He used to tell you, if you've got 6 chances to take a wicket. Every ball, it can be a wicket-taking ball. So incredibly positive. And the other thing I have to say about Eddie, I mean, fitness-wise, Eddie started that very much in South African cricket. He started that where cricketers had to be fit. He took us in Stellenbosch at university. We had a mountain there, and they call it the mountain road. Eddie used to take us out there on the mountain road, make us run after practices, and he was an absolute, and he would lead from the front. He was already in his 40s, and he would run in the front, 40 years old, sweat pouring down, red in the face, with these young students of 18 running behind him.
So you've certainly mixed with the stars there. So then where did it take you and to where you are today? I mean, you've...
It's very much through Eddie. I had my first taste of English cricket, which I call real cricket. I don't think you can really call yourself a cricketer if you haven't played in England, with the conditions, village cricket, county cricket. I mean, England is just, you have to play cricket in England to call yourself a cricketer. So I was in my second year. I studied sport physical education at Stellenbosch University, and Eddie then in my second year offered me the opportunity, said, Kobus, with Derbyshire at the time, he had that connection with Derbyshire. He said, if you want during your holidays, obviously South Africa, it was a winter holiday, but in the UK, it was summer, July, August. And he said to me, I can arrange a short stint for you at Langley Mill Cricket Club in Derbyshire. And I was supposed to go over for a month. Eddie set it all up for me, and I went to England to have my first taste of club cricket in the UK. And then I was supposed to our holiday was about a 6-week holiday. So I was supposed to play 6 matches. From my first game of club cricket in the UK, I just fell in love with the cricket in the UK. And I phoned my father, who was very serious about my studying. He said, Kobus, you get your degree and then you can go and play cricket wherever you want. Because he was a university professor. He said, you need a degree. And I was in my second year, and I never forget it. I phoned him. I said, Dan, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to come back until September. I'm going to finish the season here. And he said, but you're studying. I said, it's okay. I'll repeat my second year at university, but I'm not going to miss this. This is just unbelievable. And so I ended up staying the full season, or the second half. I arrived late, and I had to repeat my second year at university. I missed out on that year, but I had a wonderful experience. I mean, one of the highlights was Peter Kirsten was playing for Derbyshire at the time, in a star-studded team with John Wright, the New Zealand opening batsman, Bob Taylor, Mike Hendrick. I mean, what a team they had. And Peter organised for me to be 12th man against Northamptonshire at the Derby County Ground, the old racecourse. And they played a 3-day game in those days, county game against Northants. And on the last day, Northants, Jeff Miller, the spinner for England, was the Derbyshire captain.
Yeah, I know Jeff Miller,
He declared at tea time, and he set them, in those days, an unbelievable target, like 8 and over. So it was, they were never going to get it. And I was feeling, John Wright got sick, he had tonsillitis, so he batted and he went home. So I was feeling, and I dropped 2 catches. I dropped Wayne Larkins, who went on to get 100, and Jeff Cook, the 2 opening batsmen. I dropped both of them. They both got hundreds, and I mean, it was quite a taste of. It's the closest I ever got to playing first class cricket, and it's an experience I'll never forget. I dropped both, and Northants got the target, and So I remember I was 12th man, and after the game, I had to run that big communal bath at Derbyshire in the dressing room. And I was supposed as 12th man to run that bath, and then I had a list with all the drinks for the players. And I felt so bad after I dropped the 2 catches. I literally ran off the field. I was in my whites. I grabbed my little bag with clothes, and I went to the railway station. I went back to the little village where I stayed, Langley Mill. I didn't stick around at the ground.
You also played in other clubs. I know you played in Scotland as well, didn't you?
Yes, I had a season in Glasgow for Polla Cricket Club. Omar Henry, the He played a few games for South Africa. Left-arm spinner. He became a legend in Scottish cricket. They called him Omar McHenry. Played for Scotland. Omar set me up with a season of club cricket for Paddock Cricket Club in Glasgow.
That must have
Absolute
been
nightmare.
cold. That must have been cold up there.
I'll go as far as to say all my years of playing cricket, that was my worst 6 months of my life. I just didn't fit into Glasgow. I find it a very hard, kind of rough city. The people were quite rough. I couldn't understand a word of the English. That Glaswegian accent. I couldn't communicate with my teammates at all. We had a team talk before. I don't know what they're saying. I couldn't understand one word. And it was raining and cold. And a funny incident there, we were fielding, and I was on the third man boundary, fielding on the boundary, and then it started hailing, and I just ran off. I mean, it's hailing. So I went into I ran through the bar into the dressing room, took my whites off and started showering. And I realized, but the other guys aren't here. And then the barman came in and he said, "Hey, the guys are waiting for you. What are you doing?" I mean, it's hailing. And I looked out the window. They were playing in the hail. So I quickly got dressed. I went back and they gave me a real bollocking after the game. They all had a go at me. How can you just run off the field? But it was unbelievable. And my first innings I played in Scotland, I went to bat in long studs. And the second ball, it just popped because the ball just stopped. It's so wet. So I was trying to play a classic cover drive and I just popped it up back to the bowler. And I couldn't get off the pitch. I'm not joking. My studs got stuck in the clay, in the bully, and they literally had to pick me up by my arms and put me on the grass next to the pitch so I could walk off. And the guy said, "Are you crazy? You can't bat here in spikes. You bat in rubber soles." So yeah, it was a unbelievable experience for me this season in Scotland.
How many years did you play in the UK then?
I had about 11 seasons in the UK. I played for Three Bridges. I think I had about 3 seasons at Three Bridges. I played for another club. I forgot the name. In Sussex as well. I played quite a bit of cricket in Kent for Holmesdale. I played for Dover for 2 seasons down there. I had a lovely time at Dover. Beautiful ground. You walk down the steps and so I had a wonderful time in the Kent League. At that time, I became very good friends with Alan Eagleston. The late Alan Eagleston was one of my best friends. I played at Holmesdale. He organized for me to play there. I stayed with his family for a while in Holmesdale, and then also later on, Alan Eagleston stayed with one of the Mike Harmer. I think he was a spin bowler for Kent. They shared a house in Ash. I stayed with Iggy for a season, and then Mark Benson, the ex-Kent captain, he had a beautiful little cottage with his wife Sarah in Sandwich. And I stayed for 6 months with Mark Benson in Sandwich. So I think out of my seasons in the UK, my best memories would be my time with Kent, going to the county ground, having nets with the Kent players, with Iggy and Mark. I had a wonderful time in Kent. Canterbury, probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. So it's unbelievable fond memories of my Kent days in Kent.
I'd agree about Canterbury. It's such a lovely ground. When you went back to South Africa, were you ever close to playing first-class cricket in South Africa?
I tell you, it's quite a funny story as well. The closest I ever got was I played for a few seasons in the Boerland. It's sort of, you get Cape Town, Western Province League, and then literally you drive for 10 kilometers outside of Cape Town, and then you get the Boerland. It's where the wine farms are in the mountains. Beautiful part of the world. And in the Boerland League, a lot of the ex-Western Province players, when they finish their serious careers in the Western Province team, they went on to play in Boerland. Adrian Caper played for Boerland. Eddie Barlow played for Boerland. So I also then sort of towards the end of my career, I went to play for Boerland, in the Boerland, and they play first-class cricket in South Africa. And it was quite a funny story. I was on a roll in club cricket. I think I scored 180 and then 4 scores of over 50 in succession. So I was in an absolute roll. And the Australian Rebel team was out in South Africa at the moment, and they had a match against Boerland that Saturday. So on the Monday, Boland was going to select their team to play against this Australian Rebel side. It was a one-day game, and I was invited down to the nets. They were looking at me because I was on a bit of a purple patch to look at me as an opening bat. And I had quite a good net, and then they selected the team afterwards, and I didn't make it. So I was really disappointed, but they gave me a ticket for me and my dad to go and watch a game. And Boland batted first, and Rodney Hawk opened the bowling for the Australian Rebel team. And at that stage in my life, I haven't seen pace like that. Rodney Hawk was quick. And I just said, I looked after 2 balls, I looked at my dad, I said, "Just, I am so happy I didn't make this team, because that would have been me facing him, and I wouldn't be able to. I would run to square leg." I haven't seen anything, and I think at the other end it just could have been Carl Rackerman, I think, opened the bowling. So that was way out of my league at that stage. But that's the closest I ever got to playing top class level. I was 12th man for Western Province a few times when they play Yorkshire at Newlands. Phil Caddick was the captain for Yorkshire. I was 12th man, a 3-day match at Newlands. So yeah, I was sort of in and about, and I've often got invited to squad trainings and that, but I never really made the team. I was also 12th man for Kent. Funnily enough, when Eagleston organised for me, when Kent played against Hampshire in Southampton, I was 12th man, so I went down with the team, stayed in the hotel, fielded for about 20 minutes, but I was with the team at the time as well.
But coaching must have always been your love, though.
Yeah, I think I probably always felt, I think because I come from a teaching, it's in my DNA. My mother was a teacher, my dad a professor. If I also teach yoga, I'm a yoga teacher as well. I think I find if I know a subject or anything, I find it very easy to get that knowledge across to students. Even here in Kyiv, I work. I also lecture here in the university, the European University. I'm a lecturer there. I work in a school here. So I've always been a cricket head teacher, and I think coaching has always come very easily to me. I was very lucky. When I was in Holland, I had 4 seasons in the Netherlands. Also in 2000, I was the Dutch national youth coach. So from under 12 to Dutch under 19 teams, I was the national coach. I had a wonderful time there with the Dutch boys. Some of them went on to play for the senior team. Peter Seela played, he captained the Netherlands. Don van Bunga became famous for, he got hit for 6 sixes in a World Cup by Herschel Gibbs. He was my under-19 captain. So I had a fantastic time coaching in the Netherlands. I loved it. And then in South Africa, I was very involved with the University of Cape Town cricket team, where I also coached. And Graham Smith, when he was a student, he played for our team at University of Cape Town. Ryan Tinduscarter, which you'll know probably very well, but he's a legend in Essex cricket and in Dutch cricket. He played for us at the University of Cape Town. Brian Murphy, the ex-Zimbabwe leg spinner, captain Zimbabwe when he was only 23. Brian captained the University of Cape Town team. So I've had quite a good run in coaching, and then also on the administrative side. I was CEO of Cricket Kenya in Nairobi in 2014. We played 2 World Cup qualifiers. The Kenyan national team at the time, the one was in Dubai for the 50 over ODIs. We played the qualifying tournament in Dubai, and then T20 qualifiers for the World Cup we played in New Zealand. And I was CEO of Cricket Kenya. I worked very closely then with Steve Tikolo. He was sort of a legend in Kenyan cricket. He was a captain. So I had wonderful memories of my time in Nairobi with the Kenyan team. So I've really been around in cricket.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
You've certainly been around, so the obvious question is how and why did you finish up as, I believe now, the CEO of the Ukrainian Cricket Federation since January 2021? Why Ukraine?
It's a very funny story. I was in Dubai for 4 years, and I had my own cricket academy there with Ashwin. Ashwin, the Indian spinner, off spinner, he's just retired recently from Test cricket. So Ashwin had an academy in India. He's got an academy there, Genex Academy. And through one of the dads, I was coaching cricket at one of the gem schools in Dubai. I was director of cricket at the school. And then one of the fathers, an Indian gentleman, I was coaching his son. He came to me and said, listen, Ashwin is a very close friend. They went to school together of him. He said, Ashwin is interested to open a cricket academy in Dubai, sort of, his next academy in India to expand and to open an academy in Dubai. Would I be interested to get involved with him? So I flew down to Chennai with the father for 4 days. We stayed in a hotel there. And every day we would go to Ashwin's house. I met his wife, his kids, and we would sit down and have meetings about this. And I went down to the ground where he had his Genex Cricket Academy. And anyway, long story short, I ended up, we became partners to set up the Genex Cricket Academy in Dubai. So I was running that as director of cricket and head coach for Ashwin for 2 years. And Ashwin would come down every sort of month in between Test cricket. He would come down for 2 days and do cricket clinics and give his input. So that was a fantastic experience to work with Ashwin. But obviously in Dubai, I was there for 5 years. And the heat in summer, it's just unbearable. And it was one summer, I think it was about 52 degrees, and I was coaching cricket outside, and I went home that day, and we had a short break. There was some religious holiday, and we had about a 6-day break, and I went home. And my father, he actually passed away in Kyiv in 2019, my dad, but he was with me at the time in Dubai. I was taking care of him. And I went home into our apartment, and I said to him, I'm going to go somewhere where it's cold. I can't stand this heat anymore. So I didn't even know Kyiv was in Ukraine. I just Googled cold places in Europe, and it came up with Kyiv -10. So I went and I got a visa. The next day, I waited about 4 days for my visa. I bought a ticket to Kyiv. It's a 6-hour flight on Fly Dubai. And I arrived in Kyiv in knee-deep snow. At that stage, it was about -12. And I spent 5 days here in Kyiv, just walking around, exploring Kyiv. And that was in 2017. And I ended up, during that year, every break I had from cricket, even for a weekend, I would come down to Kyiv. I would take a flight, come to Kyiv for 2 days. And I fell in love with Kyiv. And the Ukrainian ambassador to Dubai at the time, Dr. Alexander, is now one of my best friends in Kyiv. He's just recently taken up the position now as ambassador in Abu Dhabi. But Dr. Alexander in the Ukrainian embassy in Dubai, every time I applied for a visa, he saw me and he said, oh, you're back. You're going to Kyiv again. So he said to me, why don't you just go and live in Kyiv? I said, yeah, but there's no cricket. And he said, yeah, you can start cricket there. And I spoke to my dad. I said, well, I could try. I've never tried anything like that. I've always gone to countries where cricket is established and I walk into a cricket setup. That could be quite interesting. So
there was literally no cricket in Ukraine whatsoever.
I thought so. So I came to Kyiv. I got some cricket equipment from Mr. Shambatia, who's got a cricket charity organization in Dubai, Care for Cricket. He's got the biggest private cricket museum in the world in Dubai. It's an unbelievable museum. He's a cricket fanatic. I thought I was fanatic, but he's even more fanatical than me about cricket. He just loves cricket. So Mr. Bhatia then sent me some of these plastic mini cricket sets to Kyiv, and I started playing cricket in the schools with my kids, and it just took off. It exploded. I showed the kids, because they've never seen cricket, they don't know cricket. So I would always start off the cricket sessions by showing them a video of Jonty Rhodes fielding, and they see Jonty diving, and they just went, they couldn't believe this guy, Jonty Rhodes. So he became a hero in Ukraine. He doesn't know it. And then the kids said they want to play this game, this diving and throwing. So that's how I started off. And at one stage, I then started doing regular cricket sessions in my schools. I did holiday camps. And then one day I got a call from an Indian gentleman, Hardeep Singh. And he said, listen, I read about you, because that got quite a bit of publicity and media exposure, the South African that started cricket in Ukraine. And Hardeep Singh phoned me and said, listen, we've been playing cricket here since the year 2000. So he was playing in Kharkiv with Indian students. Kharkiv is a big university, and Indian students used to come to study medicine there. And Hardeep started a cricket league for them. They would play tournaments, but all senior cricket, and hardly maybe 2 Ukrainians. It was all Indian students. So he said, Kobus, why don't you, we have a Ukrainian Cricket Federation in Kharkiv. Why don't you join us? I said yes, and they sort of they got me in as the CEO. I was elected CEO. So I started on weekends. I would go to Kharkiv and support the league and coach the Indian players. And I started this process of getting Ukraine to become an affiliate member of the ICC for more than 2 years. I was working very closely with Hardeep and the Ukrainian Cricket Federation, and then I did, which never has been done before. In Kyiv, I started cricket development for young Ukrainian players from kindergarten up in the schools. So that was the one thing they really missed. They ticked all the boxes to become an affiliate member of the ICC, but you need to have development programs and women's cricket, which they didn't have. So all of a sudden, I was the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle. I came in and I had this cricket program for boys and girls in the schools, Ukrainians development program. So we were then basically assured. We went through all the
and this is when you started in 2021, is that sort of time? Or
yes, yeah. Yeah, that would be, because I know in 2022, the ICC had their big meeting. They have it every 2 years. And on my birthday, on 25th of July, 2022, the ICC had their meeting in Birmingham. And at that meeting, our application was supposed to be, I worked for 2 years with Andy Wright, who's the head of European cricket. He's based at Lord's, and we worked with him to take us through this process. We ticked all the boxes, and Andy basically told me, Ukraine's application will be approved. You've done everything. At the meeting in Birmingham in 2022, literally that was in July. On March 24th, the war started, and the ICC then, when we had that meeting, they said, well, there's a war. Ukraine is a war zone. Almost all the Indian students left when the war broke out. Most of the board members left. So they didn't say no. They said it's postponed till after the war, and then the ICC will have another look at Ukraine's application. And that's what I'm doing here now. I'm fully busy to get us ready to take us through that process, tick all the boxes again with my cricket programs here in Ukraine for when the war comes to an end, hopefully soon. We will continue that process with the ICC and try for Ukraine to become an affiliate member of the ICC. That's my dream. That's what I'm doing here.
Best of luck with that. Are you coaching now then indoors more than outdoors?
Yes, because of the war, it's actually unbelievable, the schools, how they've adapted in Ukraine to the war. Most of the schools have got all the classrooms. They've got almost 2 schools, one above the ground, normal classrooms, and then you go down steps in what they call the bomb shelter. And the bomb shelter is classrooms. They even got sports halls underground. So I do a lot of my cricket sessions in the bomb shelter, in the sports hall, indoor cricket, obviously all softball cricket, no hardball cricket. And then days when we're lucky and we can be outside, especially in summer when the weather's nice, I make the most of it. But often, I've got so many videos of that where I'm in the middle of a cricket session and the air raid sirens go off, and we all have to run back into the building, get into the shelter. So it's very challenging because even, to just play cricket in a quite small area, the indoor sports halls is obviously underground. It's not a normal size of a normal sports hall. It's much smaller. So we managed to play because I'll play cricket in a kitchen if I have to. It's my passion. So wherever I find a bit of space, the school principals often ask me, how much space do you need in the shelter? We can give you some space. I say, give me a classroom, take some desks out, and I'll play cricket there. I do catches, and I do some little close catching drills, and I let them hit a ball with a stump, a tennis ball. So I adapt. I play. I think there's never an excuse not to cancel a cricket session, and I can honestly say, throughout this war, with all the bombings, that I've never cancelled a session. It's happened where I couldn't go to school because when I'm supposed to go to school, I'm in a shelter in my apartment block, and Kyiv is under there's a heavy attack on Kyiv. Obviously, then there's no cricket, there's no school. But whenever I'm at school during school hours and there's air raid sirens or whatever, it never stops my cricket program.
So what ages are we talking about, and how long are your sessions? And because it's a football culture, I would think, yes. Ukraine. So
and basketball. I play basketball, but football mostly, yes.
So what age groups, and how long are your sessions?
When I do 30-minute sessions with kindergarten. I mean, these kids are 3, 4, 5 years old. I do cricket with them, because they don't understand a word of English, it's hard to communicate. So I've got an assistant at the school where I teach, Euroland School. It's a Ukrainian lady. She lived in the UK, in Newcastle, for 6 years. So she knows cricket. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe I'm finding Ukrainian that actually knows cricket. And then she got so interested in this cricket program to assist me. She's very sporty. She's also a sport teacher. So she did the ICC Foundation cricket course. So she's a certified ICC coach, the only Ukrainian with a ICC certification. Her name is Olena. And Olena is my cricket assistant, and obviously she speaks fluent Ukrainian. She's Ukrainian, but also fluent English. So when I work with a little kid, she translates everything. So I do kindergarten, and then I go right up to 17, the highest, the sort of the age of the grade 11s at school. They all do cricket. I've managed to get cricket in as a part of the PE curriculum in my school. So we have lessons every day with all the classes. PE lesson, it's a cricket lesson with me and Olena. And then recently I got into a big university here, they heard about my cricket program, they were interested. So 4 days a week in the afternoon, after school sessions, myself and Olena, we go down to the university, and we have a huge, all the first year physical education students are now doing this cricket program with us as part of their PE curriculum as well at university. So that's university students. And we're going today. After the session, I'm rushing off to university with Olena. She's picking me up, and we do our session there. And I'm so proud. Last week, we finished a 10-day cricket tournament. Every afternoon, we had teams playing. And we had 12 teams of 8 players in a team competing in this tournament. So we had a final in the end. So all the first year students in the university that's studying physical education department, they've been doing cricket with us for 3 months now. They know the rules, they know how to play, and I'm slowly getting them into hardball cricket because a friend of mine that played with, I know him from Holland. He's got a cricket academy there. He played cricket for Holland. Chris Smith is Australian that lives in the Netherlands. He's been sending me bags full of equipment, and he's now sending me a flex mat. So we can actually now put the flex mat outside on the football field. And he sent me 2 sets of hardball cricket equipment, pads, helmet, everything. So we're now going to, once a flex mat arrives, I'm going to transition the students at university to hardball cricket.
And football, basketball, but are you finding there's lots of talent amongst the boys and girls that are playing cricket?
Dylan, yes, what is very interesting in Ukraine is I know there's a big emphasis on women's cricket these days globally, and the ICC is really promoting women's cricket now. Ukraine is absolutely is the place for women's cricket, because what you find here, the girls in Ukraine, girls start in when they start to walk, they start dancing and gymnastics. This all the girls are doing some kind of dancing classes in the off. When the boys go to football, the girls go to dancing. They do ballet. They do rhythmic gymnastics. So the girls are their hand-eye coordination and muscular development, even at a very young age, flexibility, is just on a level that I've never seen in any country where I've been, where girls of that age, girls of 9 years old, can do push-ups. They're strong because they've been dancing since the age of 4. So these girls, especially as I say, with hand-eye coordination, and a lot of them play tennis as well. The girls, tennis is very popular here, especially with girls in Ukraine. So these girls, they've got that hand-eye coordination, and I believe some of the girls that I coach here is just phenomenal. They smash the ball, they catch, they bowl. So I see Ukrainian women's cricket could be really the one area where Ukraine could within a few years, with proper opportunities, these girls could easily start to compete against some established cricket countries with their women teams. The boys also good because of football, but also the boys, I find the boys with the most talent are the natural talented ones are obviously they play football. So they've got those skills, changing direction, balance from football, and they'll come to cricket, but on a Saturday or Sunday when there's football, they become deserters. They say, sorry, they're not coming to cricket, they're off to football. So it's quite, I'm always competing against football here. It reminded me a lot of when I was in Holland. I was always competing against hockey. Hockey is huge in the Netherlands, and the same kids that played cricket, that hitting the ball, 90% of them played hockey. So I always had that problem in Holland. I'll find a fantastic little cricketer, and then he says, no, sorry, but I'm going to stop cricket, or I can't come on those days because I've got hockey, and that's a priority here. It's the case with football with the boys. So it's quite challenging to keep the boys with the talent, to keep them together and get them to play cricket. The girls just want to play cricket. They love it.
I can feel your passion for the game and coaching. And what does it mean to the children, and how much of a difference does it make to their well-being? Because it must be so difficult for them growing up at the moment in Ukraine.
Even yes, that is. I often say, I'm passionate about cricket. Obviously, I love cricket, and I've done, I would say, my bit over the years, promoting the game, giving back to cricket for what it's given me. But I always feel in Ukraine it's special. It goes way beyond cricket. These kids are traumatized. I'm traumatized as an adult. I haven't had a proper night's sleep for months. You don't sleep at night. You hear a little sound. You tuned in. It could be the air raid siren. It could be a drone. I mean, the biggest fear is you don't wake up and you sleep in your bed when there's a big drone attack, and you wake up when the thing hits your apartment. Well, you don't wake up. So you don't sleep properly. I wake up throughout the night. I'm awake at 1 o'clock. I listen. I check my phone if there's any drones coming. And for these kids, for them, it must be so traumatic. And they've been living, I had 2 years during the war when I went to Zagreb in Croatia to get away from the war. I came back last year. But most of these kids has been here for the war's going for 4 years now. They haven't had a break. They've been in this war nonstop. They live down in shelters where they, where they have their lessons. In school, they're in shelter. At night, they're in shelters. At night, there's explosions. So I feel what I'm doing with the cricket here for these kids, it's really doing something. I'm making a difference in Ukraine. I know that. The kids tell me that. The parents tell me that. So many parents come to me and say, yes, the kids just love your cricket sessions because it's a new sport. It's something exciting. And the way because I'm passionate, I really put a lot of energy into these cricket sessions, and the kids love it. So I feel I can honestly say I feel I'm making a difference, and that's one of the main reasons I stay here. I could easily leave Kyiv and say, "Oh, me and my dogs, we've had enough of the explosions. We want a normal life now." But I can't leave these kids. I can't even think of just leaving them and say, "Okay, I'm now leaving. Sorry, goodbye." I can't do it. I know what I mean to them, and their cricket sessions mean to them. So there is no ways I can leave. I'll tell you a quick story. A while ago, I was coaching kids cricket, and they were hitting the ball, with a plastic bat and the rubber ball. It makes it thud. It's a thudding sound on the bat. And one of the moms came to me and she said, what is amazing? They call me Oliver here. She said, Oliver, what is amazing is at night my kids hear these explosions and they're terrified. They shake and they cry. And now I come to cricket and I hear that sound of the balls hitting that little plastic bats. It's like a little explosion. And I hear the laughter of the kids when they hear that sound. And she said, I can't tell you what it means to me as a mother to hear the kids laughing and that same kind of similar sound. So it just, I can't leave. It's not even an option.
But you are leaving briefly to come on a tour of England at the end of October. How much are you looking forward to that?
Stephen, I tell you, I've got two reasons why I don't sleep at night. The one is drone attacks and the other one is excitement. I can't sleep. I'm so excited. Through Michael Powell, who, as you said, played for Warwickshire, he's the head of cricket at rugby school. We started chatting about Bob Woolmer on LinkedIn, where I met you, and we came up with the idea that I should bring some Ukrainian kids to rugby school, that they'll host us. I've had a few Zoom meetings now with the different people in management to make this to happen. And I just heard today, just before I went on air with you, I had the good news from the British Embassy here that my visa has been granted. So I've got my visa. We're busy doing the visas for the kids. And Elena, my assistant coach, is waiting for her visa as well. So on the 23rd of October, we'll be leaving. Well, it's not easy to get to the UK. It's not as easy as it sounds. We have to, because the airspace is closed in Ukraine, the airports has all been blown up. So we have to take a train to the Hungarian border from Kyiv. It's an overnight train. We get to the Hungarian border, then we take a bus from there to Budapest airport, and then we fly from there to I think we're going to end up at Luton or Birmingham. I'm trying to get a flight for us to Birmingham because it's close to rugby school, but then we fly from there. So it's about a 2-day journey to get to rugby school, but then we'll be there until the 1st of November. That morning we leave rugby school, and while we're there, Michael said the cricket coaches will assist. Their coaches will assist me and Elena. We'll have regular cricket sessions in there. It will be cold then, so we'll be indoors in the indoor facilities with this unbelievable state-of-the-art facilities at rugby school. We'll be staying in their dormitories, which is also, if I think of some of the students that stayed in those dormitories before as some test rugby players, test cricket players, famous politicians. So it's going to be an unbelievable cultural experience of British culture for our kids. It's historical. No Ukrainian kids, they go on tours to England, they stay in little 3-star guest houses, but to stay in a school like rugby. And I've also organized for rugby school buses will take us on excursion trips to Oxford one day, Oxford University, and to Cambridge University. And then the highlight of the tour for me is an excursion to London, where we'll go to Lord's and do the little Lord's, where they show you Lord's. My kids have to see Lord's, and for me to go back to Lord's, it's going to be unbelievable. So I'm so excited about this trip.
How many of you are coming, and what's the age groups? Boys and girls, I guess.
Funny enough, we only got one boy, and then we've got 13 girls at this. So I was hoping to get a group of 20 students together, but parents are a bit nervous to let their kids out of the country now because of what's happening here. The kid could be in England and there's a massive attack or something. The apartment could get damaged. Heaven forbid, the parents may have to leave Kyiv in a hurry. It's a reality that people may have to leave Kyiv. It can happen. depending on how bad the attacks are. So, and how the war escalates. So people are afraid your kids is up in England and the parents have to leave Kyiv and they have to go to Poland or somewhere. Now their child is sitting in England on a cricket tour. So some parents are nervous, and also the visa application process is not easy for Ukrainians now to get visas to go to the UK. It's a lot of paperwork. So I have 14 that's going, and myself and Elena. So I don't have 20, but there'll be altogether 16 of us in our group. And it goes, I mean, the youngest one is in grade 4, so he's about 12 years old, Nazar. And then I have 2 of my university students, that's about 17, 2 girls of 17 years old that's going. And then there's a mix, they go sort of up from 12 years old up to 17, different age groups.
So remind us of the dates of when you're coming over. I think it's the 25th, is it?
Yeah, we'll arrive there on the 24th or the 25th. Depends a lot on the, on flights and on the train tickets to get there. But we'll be there on 24th or 25th of October. We'll arrive at rugby school, and we'll leave there on the morning of the 1st of November. So it's only about 5 weeks away, and I'll be back in the UK.
I bet the children the ones that are coming can't stop talking about it.
I have shown them videos. You can't believe they've seen every square, they've seen every county ground in the UK. Every day we sit and watch in class. I show them videos of Edgbaston in Birmingham, the county ground. I talk cricket to them. They can't wait. And what is really interesting, not one of these kids has ever been to the UK. So it's a complete new, they talk about London, but it's they can't really picture London. They hear about London and maybe they see something on YouTube, but they don't have an idea. So I mean, London and Oxford University Rugby School, it's going to be an unbelievable experience for these kids, and for me.
Yeah, I bet it will be. I mean, hopefully you're going to get quite a lot of coverage once you get here in the media.
I believe we will. I think also Rugby School's marketing department, I've had a few chats to them, they're going to try to get as much attention as they can for our little, for my Ukrainian kids. And I really hope we do, because it will be so nice for these kids to actually, see themselves in a British newspaper or maybe some TV channel or a podcast. I mean, these kids, and I feel they honestly deserve it. They've been through so much. Each and every one of them has a war story to tell. I don't think I've met one person in Ukraine now that hasn't lost a father, a close family member, a neighbor in this war. Either soldiers, like they mobilize the men here, so they all have a friend or a relative that's been mobilized and that has died in the war, or they've or they've actually lost a father or a brother. So everyone has been touched by this war, and for these kids to have this experience, to get to actually get a bit of recognition for what they've been through. I would love them to tell their stories to people in the UK, because I don't think people, we watch BBC News and we read the newspapers, Telegraph, but it doesn't even touch the reality of this war. It's a very far away sort of, you hear about this, but these kids, as they experience this war every day. And I think if people in the UK can hear these kids talk about the war and their losses and their personal experience of the war, it will be an eye-opener, but it will also change some people's perspective of the war, and especially kids at that age, that they've been through so much. So I think it's going to be on not just for our kids, but also for people in the UK that's going to come into contact or hear or see these children. It's going to be a eye-opening experience.
Yeah, we just casually watch the news, sometimes just having our tea, and it's the next item on the news, and we're just thinking of what we're doing that night or going somewhere, and people are going through what you and the children are going through on a daily basis.
Yeah, but as I say, I mean, very few things can get me down at the moment. I'm on such a high. looking forward. When I heard today that my visa's been approved, I'll go and pick it up tomorrow at the British Embassy. It's just such a, after 3 years of the war and what we go through every day, to have something like a trip to rugby school in the UK, going to Lord's, to have something like that to look forward to, it just lifts. It's just such a nice, positive thing in my life. And most of all, I've been there, but I'm still looking forward. But for these kids, I am so excited to see how they experience that first time when the bus drives into rugby school. And it looks like Windsor Castle in the pictures. I've never been to rugby school, but it's got the ivy walls. When we drive into rugby school and these kids in the bus say, wow, we're going to be staying here. I am so excited for them.
Is there any way that listeners to this podcast can help or tour with the people on the tour? Is there a call out for kit for you to take back with you and things like that? Or
that is the one thing I've asked. For this. We definitely no money or anything like that. We worked it out. We look for cheap. Plus, rugby is giving us an unbelievable looking after us there. But the kids, they don't have cricket kit, and I just thought to go on a tour like this, and they actually have, the whole team has a cricket uniform, that they look like a cricket team. We have cricket shirts. Maybe it's going to be cold. Maybe it's a top that we all look the same with the Ukrainian logo, or if there's a sponsor, the sponsor's logo on it. Maybe a little backpack, awesome, like team kit, like outfits, team uniforms that we can travel in, that we go to the practice sessions, that if we go to Lord's, we arrive 14 of us all in as a team, with obviously a lot of blue and yellow, so people can see we're from Ukraine. We're very proudly representing Ukraine on this tour, and they're very aware of that they're going to be representing Ukraine. So we hope to meet General Zaluzhny, our Ukrainian ambassador. We've written to the Ukrainian embassy in London. We hope to have a meeting with him, which would be fantastic for the kids. He's a hero. Ukraine is a war hero. So if the kids can meet him. But when we walk into that embassy to meet him as well, and if there's some media around, it would be nice to have a nice, at least to look like a Ukrainian team. So I have asked on LinkedIn, I've appealed, I've had a few responses already, if any team or club or anyone that's interested to assist us, to help us to get team uniforms, and as I said, maybe a little matching backpacks for the team. That would be fantastic.
I'll certainly share your post on LinkedIn then, Kobus, and hopefully we can reach out to someone who'll sponsor you and create some kit to show that you're all from and representing Ukraine cricket.
That would be fantastic, because I think it would just be the cherry on the cake. If we're at rugby school, we're training there, and we look a bit like a licorice, all sorts. One guy in one of the girls in a football sweater, the other one in a Mickey Mouse top, which is a reality, because some of them are quite young. It would be just absolutely unbelievable to see them all, and they'd be so proud to be on photographs and that with the Ukrainian colors and the team kit. We're going to get a name for our team as well, so we can put the name, and if there's a sponsor, obviously the sponsor can do whatever they want on our team kit. They can put on their logo, their name. It would be fantastic. I appreciate that so much, Stephen. That would really go a long way to make the tour extra special.
And the future, from what we've gathered in this podcast, hopefully when the war is over, and that can't come soon enough for you and everyone in Ukraine becoming a member of the ICC.
And that will be a life dream. That's been I've always, as I said, I've been in cricket, involved in cricket. I loved my life in cricket, but that has become, I would almost call it an obsession since I've been in Ukraine. That would be, I worked in Holland with the Dutch Cricket Board, Kenya, but it's always established cricket countries to actually be able to say, during my cricket time, I've achieved something unique. That will be unique, to be the person or the driving force that managed to get Ukraine to become a member of the ICC. That would just be an absolute, I think then I'll hang my boots up. That's the day when we become a member. I'll put my cricket stuff away and I'll say, now I can retire gracefully and read cricket books, which I'm passionate about as well. There's some of my cricket books I haven't even had the time to read. I've got a lovely book there by Richie Beno and Dennis Fry. I love reading the old cricket books. I haven't even had time. So then I'll put my cricket kit. I'll give it to one of the Ukrainian kids, and I'll sit and read my cricket books with my 4 dogs.
You mustn't forget your dogs. You're going to have to leave them with you when you're in the UK.
Yeah, I've managed to get somebody, a friend of mine, will stay with him if there's any bomb attacks. He said he'll take them down to the shelter. So I feel comfortable with my dog. I would never go away and leave my dogs alone. I trust this person. I've known him for a while, and he offered to look after my dogs. So I feel comfortable. I'll be phoning him every day, and he'll have to send me videos of the dogs in the UK. I always check that they're okay, but I feel comfortable with that. I'm going to miss them like crazy, but they're going to be happy when I get back. So,
well, thank you so much for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion, Kobus. The best wishes for the UK tour. I hope you have a fantastic time. We ought to do a catch up at some point on how it goes, because it's going to be a momentous week for you at rugby school, and more importantly for the children. And also, stay safe in Ukraine.
Stephen, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you, to be on your podcast, and hopefully we can do a short podcast while I'm at rugby school with my kids and Elena. We can maybe do a little 15-minute catch-up podcast.
That would be nice,
where
yeah.
People can see that it's actually really happening, where I'm with the kids and we do a little live, like now, podcast from rugby school. That would be amazing.
Well, thank you again. We're going to talk about something else in a minute, but thank you very much for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Stephen, thank you. It's been an absolute honor, and thank you for having me on there, and thank you for giving this exposure to our tour. And I really hope to be back with you soon, and hopefully it will be more peaceful in Kyiv, and there won't be air raid sirens, and it will be during peacetime, and we can have a nice, comfortable conversation, because this whole podcast, I've been sitting with one ear listening if the air raid sirens are going to go off. So hopefully the next podcast, it will be more relaxed. But thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.